All right, so Val Fischbach, right?
Right.
Okay, and you said you started working for the railroad in 1951?
May of 51.
Oh, okay,
Of course, at that time it was CB&Q.
Yeah.
okay. And you hired out on the CB&Q?
Right.
Okay.
Then, of course, later on, they merged with the Great Northern Pacific, Portland, Southern,
Okay.
and there was one other small railroad. And that's when they changed the name to BN.
Oh, okay.
In the year after I retired, they merged with the Santa Fe. So then it became the BNSF.
How many years did you work for the railroad?
41 years. Or wait a minute, 44 years. I retired in, let's say, June 3rd of 95.
And how did you get started working on the railroad?
After high school, I went to Minneapolis to school for 10 months, and CB&Q was hiring at that time, and that's how I ended up down here.
Okay. And what did you work several different switch towers, interlocking towers in your time?
Towers, depots in Illinois, Iowa, and Wisconsin.
Wow. And you worked the interlocking tower here in Mendota?
Both of them.
Both of them. Okay. When was your first time working the tower here in Mendota, the IC tower?
Be the fall of 51.
51, okay. And what were your duties as a towerman? What were all of your duties in a shift?
Well, mainly, of course, you had, I forgot how many levers to pull, depending on where you wanted certain trains to go.
Okay.
You had to line them up accordingly. And of course, at that time, you had the IC Railroad and the Milwaukee, so all three of them,
Okay.
you had to line them up on the right tracks.
In the Mendota Sun Bulletin of May 1st, 1903, it talks about the interlocking switches. The new interlocking tower which the CB&Q built at the Illinois Central Crossing was put into operation last Monday at 12 o'clock noon. All trains will now run the crossing if the same is clear. This is the largest interlocking plant on the CB&Q system, and it keeps the operators busy most all the time. It is impossible now to have a collision between an Illinois Central train and a Q train, for when the route is cleared over the crossing for a Q train, the derails on the Central have been opened before the clear track can be given to the Q train and vice versa. This will save many delays on both roads. The only way an accident can happen is for engineers to disregard signals, and in that case he will run off on the ground before he gets to the crossing. It is almost impossible for the operator to make a mistake. The plant is equipped with 40 levers, and these control 21 different routes in the immediate vicinity of the plant. 10 routes for the IC, and 11 for the Q. There are 3 Q telegraph wires in the plant for the operator to do the train work with, and an IC wire will be put in as soon as possible. There's no doubt but that this is a great improvement over the old way of operating that crossing. Fred Landon is day operator and Roy Gerard is night man at salaries of $65 per month. Now there was a third railroad that came through Mendota, known as the Rochelle and Southern Railroad, also known as the Milwaukee Road. Now it talks about the interlocking switches on the date here of February 12th, 1904. So the interlocking tower just got activated in 1903. So here a little later we had to shut down the interlocking tower and go back to the manual way. Here's what the article says. The interlocking switches. Owing to the fact that the Rochelle and Southern Railroad is being connected with the interlocking switches, the state inspector has ordered all trains to stop and the switches to be worked in the same old way. This will probably throw the system out of commission for 3 or 4 weeks as the cold weather keeps the men from doing the work as rapidly as they could under more favorable conditions.
Okay. And now, were the interlocking levers just for switches, or did you also control semaphore signals with that?
Signals, but not semaphores.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Do you remember any mishaps or derailments?
Oh, too numerous to mention.
What was one of the big ones?
Oh, yeah. I know there's a couple of them just west of Earlville, but gee, I don't know which one was the biggest.
Was there a derailment of a coal train in the 70s that ended up taking out the diamonds for the Milwaukee, and then the Milwaukee had to use the Illinois Central?
Well, actually, to start with, they used Illinois Central part of the time always.
Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. And what kind of movements did the CB&Q make? Maybe at night, did they have a switch engine, or all 3 shifts, a switch engine that would...
For quite a while, they had 3 of them.
3. Okay.
3 a day.
3 a day, okay. And how many trains would you say, I know it varied, but how many trains came through on a shift?
Oh.
Average.
It's a very...
Yeah, much.
But I would say it'd be nothing unusual at times 50.
50? Really? And how long were your shifts?
Well, it was supposed to be 8 hours.
So something tells me you've had to do some overtime.
Yeah, depending on when it was, I put a lot of overtime in. Not only at Mendota, but a lot of other locations.
A lot of other locations, yeah. And you said you knew some of the tower operators, like Fred Wagner and Kenny Pearson. And you mentioned that a couple of the guys had heart attacks while they were working?
Glenn Carl and Kenny Pearson.
Okay, so they actually had heart attacks while they were on the shift.
I don't remember if it was right on the shift, but
Wow.
in that area.
Okay. Wow. Were there any favorite towers that you worked, or favorite depots that
Well,
were?
I would say there wouldn't be such a thing.
Okay. All right. They were all good and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is our assistant and volunteer at the museum, Trenton, and he's a rail enthusiast, and he had mentioned to me, if you knew Kenny Pearson, and apparently you did know Kenny Pearson.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Is he still living?
Nope.
No.
He died over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, let's see, trying to think of where he lived.
He lived in Ladd, and then I believe he lived in Spring Valley for a while, and then he moved over to Princeton.
Princeton is the one I'm thinking of.
That was where
Okay.
his wife still lives over there, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He wouldn't have been any relation to John Pearson, would he? You remember John?
I remember John, yeah.
John and Shirley?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
Don't know. I'd have to ask my mom, because she knows the Pearson family. They used to be our neighbors
Yeah,
when they lived across the street from us.
okay.
That's P-E-I-R? S-O-N?
P-I-E-R.
P-I-E-R,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the way John's name was spelled too.
What do you remember about the Milwaukee Road through Mendota? Anything?
As far as crew goes, they were nice and easy to work with.
Easy to work with, okay.
I would say better than the BN, CB&Q, or whatever you want to call
Really?
Hmm.
Really? Okay. And
There is a difference.
them. Yeah. And IC wasn't bad either.
Really? Yeah.
Hmm.
How many Milwaukee trains would pass through a day? A couple?
Yeah, one or two a day.
One or two a day.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there a usual time that the Milwaukee trains would come through? Do you remember?
Yeah, but I don't remember exactly when.
Okay.
But they operated out of Ladd and went all the way up to Janesville, Wisconsin.
Wow. Okay.
Up one day and back the next.
Okay. Now, what about the coal? Was there coal exchanged between the Illinois Central and the Milwaukee, and then the Milwaukee would take coal trains up north to Janesville for the power?
That I don't know.
Okay, I was just wondering because when I was a kid, I grew up along the Illinois Central, just south of here, and I just remember a lot of coal trains coming and going. Yeah. What do you remember most vividly about the Illinois Central?
They were good to work with.
Yeah, they were good to work with. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Do you have any stories you'd like to share about your experiences with the railroading, good or bad?
Well, there was plenty of both of them.
Plenty of both. Yeah. Anything stick out in your mind?
Oh, there were so many things that I don't remember other than depending on what it was and where it was, they'd send me there to straighten things out.
Oh, okay. And you said you had instructed Bill Greenwood.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
that was at Earlville Tower.
Earlville Tower, okay. He must have been, well, I think Fred Wagner was working here, and Fred Wagner had invited him up to the tower, and that's kind of how he kind of got started?
Possible.
Okay. And you remember the Fred Wagner name?
Yeah, both of them.
Okay. And Fred Jr. worked, you said, the
They call IC
IC
Tower.
Tower, okay.
And his dad worked MS Tower.
MS Tower, okay.
There used to be a small restaurant out in that area.
Okay.
And, what was the name of that motel that was out there? Red Rose or something like that. it was in that area.
Okay, out near First Avenue, across from Ziggy's?
East of First Avenue.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there was the Red Rose Tavern, I
Yeah.
remember. I don't know if it was any kind of a motel or anything, but it certainly was a tavern,
Yeah.
a rough tavern.
Well,
It used to be
Uh,
fights out
in
there.
that, somewhere in that area,
Yeah, okay.
along the railroad tracks, was this small restaurant. I think it was actually mostly for the train crews.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay.
Hmm.
Now, did you work the Compton the Compton depot at all?
Yeah.
Did you? Okay.
I worked there until wait a minute. No, I worked there, no, I was working Compton when I got called for service. And then after I got out of service, that's when I went to Earlville.
Oh, okay. So, did Earlville at the time have an interlocking tower?
No.
No, okay.
Oh, wait a minute, yes, they did.
Okay.
Because that's where I met or trained Greenwood.
Oh, okay. Okay. And now you handed up a lot of train orders. You said even to this engine,
Even now,
4978. Wow. Do you have that train order hoop there? You can show? Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. How late did they run that engine, do you know? Was that into the
Oh.
60s?
it was running in the 50s, but I would say probably somewhere around the 60s.
Oh, okay.
Because when I got out of service, why, they were in the process of switching over to from steam engines to the other kinds.
So, okay, he's got something from the IC tower
Yeah,
there.
I picked this up at, you remember Leo Mulock ever?
The photographer in Mendota.
Because this came from his collection, and it had these,
IC Tower, MS Tower.
yeah. And then it had this name, it said R. Miller. I don't know if that was somebody else, or it was right here. And then it was,
I remember a Miller
Yeah.
that he was a railroad worker, but I don't know what he did or anything like that.
The name sounds familiar, but I can't place him right now.
Would you say that initial was?
it just says R. Miller, and it's right on the top.
It might be Robert, no, Bob Miller. I know there was a Miller, I knew him, sorta,
Yeah.
but, I mean, you know,
But Leo
As
Mulock.
far as Mendota goes, you had us operators that working the towers, and then you had the section crew, they were in that building over there. The yard master to start with was in that building, and I don't know if you remember seeing the freight house.
I don't, but pictures I've
That
seen.
was over there too,
Okay.
on the east side of the tracks.
Okay.
Signal department was in that building, so you had all the various crews here.
Oh, okay. And I heard they had a pretty big yard here.
Yeah, there was a north yard and what they referred to as the south yard.
South yard, okay. So the north yard would have been north of the main, probably?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah. Do you have any questions, Trenton, that you can think of?
No, I don't think
No?
so. Other than maybe when did you last work at IC Tower or MS Tower?
Well, they closed up IC Tower, then they moved us to in the depot here.
Oh, really? Okay. So would you hand up train orders from the depot here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
So then, okay, when you got transferred over to the building here, then you didn't have to mess with the
No,
switches anymore.
all that was electrified and they operated that out of Aurora.
Okay.
Because IC Tower was the last tower on the system that was still mechanically.
When they got away from the mechanical switches then, Val, your title working in the depots like this and everything was
Still the same.
okay.
Actually, my title was agent operator.
Agent
Okay.
operator, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I could work either one.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow.
Did you had to learn Morse code when you first hired?
Yeah.
Did you?
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering about
Mhm.
that.
Well, there's another thing. I had to learn Morse code.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got involved in ham radios, and they use what they referred to as international code.
Oh,
When I went in service, they used international. When they got back out, I had to relearn Morse.
Wow. Really?
I didn't know there was two different codes,
Yeah.
or
I didn't
Like-
know.
Well, some of the letters and numbers were the same,
okay.
but others were different.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought it was all the same all the
I
way
did.
through.
I did too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Wow.
everything. I mean,
What years did you work in the service or go serving in the military?
Oh, it was in the 50s or during the 50s.
Yeah. Okay. 4 years or?
Actually, I was drafted. I was in for, I think it was something over 2 months.
Oh, okay.
And then I took what they referred to as a short discharge
Oh, okay.
and then enlisted. And that had to be for 3 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And shortly after that, they were looking for helicopter pilots. And I was very close to going that route.
Wow.
But then I'd lose my time with the railroad. So
Oh.
I decided I wouldn't.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So in other words, you wanted to make sure you held on to your civilian job.
Well, I had, I think it was 9 years with the railroad.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So if I'd come back in less than 4 years, I would maintain that
Oh,
time to go towards my seniority.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
And as far as what jobs you work to a certain extent, when by whoever was interested, you'd put your bid in, whoever had the highest seniority would get the job.
Oh,
That's how they handled their jobs.
okay. Now, when you hired out on the railroad, were all 3 railroads here running steam engines? The Milwaukee, Illinois Central?
When I hired out, they did, yeah.
Wow. What kind of motive power, if you remember, did the 3 railroads have? I don't know, like the 484s or?
Yeah.
That part I really don't know.
Okay. Okay.
Other than they did have various sizes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They had the steam transition going on too, and that was.
Yeah.
But I think they still had the Hudsons on the CV&Q because they had because the 4960 and the 5632, those were the excursion stars, and they were still moving at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Did they run excursion trains while you were?
Yeah.
Did they?
They run quite a few of them from Aurora to Earlville.
Oh, okay.
Turned them at Earlville and sent them back.
Oh, okay. Now, here's a good question for you. Did you work the Lamoille Depot at all?
Not that I remember.
Oh, okay. Okay. But you remember traffic coming off the Denrock branch? And
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of freights did they run on the Denrock branch? What was it used for?
The track went all the way from Mendota to Denrock.
Okay.
Denrock, all that was really a railroad junction.
Oh,
There was
okay.
no town.
Oh, okay.
But I had to work Denrock different times.
Oh,
too.
did you work Denrock? Okay. Wow.
Yeah, that's out in the middle of nowhere, and you can actually still see where the Y is or was.
Really?
They still have a curve that goes
Wow.
out to Dubuque, I believe. But you can still see in the tree line where the
Yeah, they had a line that run from Galesburg to Savannah, and it went through Denrock.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
still does.
Yeah.
But
Did you know any of the Zulpers?
Oh, I worked with a whole bunch of them.
Did you? Okay. I interviewed Dale about a month and a half ago in this room. It was very, very good. Yeah. Dale Zulper.
Yeah.
Did you happen to know the old man or the father,
I didn't.
Oh.
No.
Joe?
Well, I know Joe Jr. and I know
Okay.
Dale's brother Joe.
Yeah.
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 I know there were quite a few Joes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't know if his name was Joe,
Yeah.
the old man.
Do
Do
Henry
you remember
Zulper.
Val, the father of the family?
I'm sure I probably worked with him, but I don't remember now.
Okay.
and then there was Kenny Zolper.
Yeah. Kenny
Yeah.
Zulper. Yeah.
He was the bridge tender at LaSalle.
Yeah.
Did you know Jerry? Jerry?
No. I did not
Okay,
know.
he would be about a year older than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only seen him, when was that?
Out at Cindy's
Yeah,
the other night.
right,
Him and his wife went right by we were sitting in a booth.
both, yeah. They,
Yeah. Yeah.
They were just leaving.
They were just leaving, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. How about a Wham Hop?
What?
Wham Hop? Do you remember that Wham Hop?
Yeah, I think he was in the maintenance crew.
Yeah, a Bob Wham Hop.
He was down from Spring Valley or LaSalle.
LaSalle, Peru, yeah. Sure.
We talked with him too.
Yeah, I interviewed him too. Yeah.
He's got a lot of funny stories.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to your railroading days?
Well, I just can't think of what.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, Len, do you have any questions, or Trenton, you can think of something?
Well, were you still working? Maybe here's a question: were you working at Mendota when they ran the last Milwaukee trains and Illinois Central trains through town? Early to
Maybe
mid.
about in the 1980s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been working around here, yeah.
Yeah. February 29th, 1980 was the last day of the Milwaukee Road.
And the same day the IC Tower came
In
down.
the same, yeah. But, yeah.
And then December 21st, 1985, that was the last day that the Illinois Central traveled through town.
Yeah. Yeah, those were sad days. Yeah. I'll bet Mendota was, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll bet Mendota was a pretty thriving town in those days.
We were a busy spot.
Busy spot.
You know.
Yeah.
Still is kind of busy, even though it's just down the one.
Along the railroad.
Yeah, but
Yeah. I'll bet there were a lot of passenger trains too on the Burlington.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were gonna ask?
Yeah, I was gonna say, back in the day, when Val was working at the tower here in Mendota, I used to go up and visit them several different times.
Okay. Did you get a lot of visitors up in the tower?
Not all that many,
No.
because a lot of times you didn't have time for them.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing, a lot of employees couldn't qualify to work that tower.
Oh, really?
Too busy.
Too busy, huh?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what were the qualifications to work the tower?
Not stopping any trains.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You got to be very physically fit to pull those levers.
Yeah, that wasn't easy to pull them levers.
No, it was rough.
Did you had some really tough levers? How long did those rods go? What was the furthest ones you had to throw?
Well, IC was mostly local. MS Tower, you probably went at least a quarter mile or more.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow.
Some guy, I guess he said he had that sitting in his garage.
Do you remember that, Val?
Yeah.
Did you ever stop trains at for the coal chute?
Yeah, back in those days, why they stopped to get coal or water.
Okay. Yeah, they had a big coal chute.
Yeah.
Now, was that considered the electrics out there at that time too, or why do they call it the electrics now, or?
Yeah, now they call it electrics.
Okay.
But back then, you had to throw them from MS Tower,
Okay.
like ABC, that area. Your tower was probably, somewhere in the area of DO.
Okay.
And they had the spur track to the roundhouse too.
Yeah.
Now, when you were working, was this switch right here off the Burlington to the Milwaukee? Was that still in operation on D? L31?
No, all that be changed. by
All
now.
that chain. Okay, I figured, yeah, that was pretty old. Yeah.
Yeah, all that is electrified.
Okay.
And it was Aurora to start with in Chicago, went out to Kansas City, and I think now it's probably out in Texas.
Oh, okay.
It is,
Yeah.
Fort Worth, Texas.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Now looking on this layout here, does anything look familiar? Hopefully it does. Right here on the, there's the old tower there.
Oh, yeah.
Was there any particular shift you worked a lot
All
of?
three,
All three. Okay.
both places.
And what were the shifts? What were they?
Well, normally, for the midnight till 8, and 8 to 4.
8 to 4. Okay. All right.
But there too, depending on the location, time could vary considerable.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your time, Val. Yeah, and the information. If there's anything else you'd like to add.
Well, there's so much, it's
I know.
hard to think.
Hard to think. Right, exactly. Yeah. But, well, we got a loud coal train coming by. Do you know anything about what was called Watson's Coffee Shop, the Watson's Cafe there by the tower?
Yeah.
Okay, what was that?
I was working in Kiwanee, from there to Mendota IT, and I had, I think it was 3 days or nights to get qualified. Fred Wagner Jr. was working, and when I came up there, he says, you interested in a cup of coffee? I says, yeah, that's all right with me. So we went over to that place, got back, he says, well, now you've been in Mendota Cat House.
Do any of these look familiar here?
That does, well, both of them.
Yeah.
And that.
And do you know who that is? I don't know who that is.
I
Kind
can't
of hard
tell.
to tell, yeah. Yeah,
Must have been on day shift,
must have been on days, huh?
10 o'clock.
Okay.
That one too.
Which one? Oh,
The
yeah.
Milwaukee passing the tower.
Yeah, you've probably seen a scene like this several times, Val, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
What about this picture here? There was a derailment. You remember that?
Remember that coal train derailment? And
That's the one that took out the Milwaukee Diamond, I think.
No, I don't remember it, but
okay.
In the spring of 1977.
Yeah, looks like they had already taken out the Milwaukee
Yeah.
Diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They took out the
yeah.
And then they had the
Milwaukee Diamond.
they had repainted it too at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's when they were taking down the train order signals, I think.
Uh-huh.
Show them the inside of the tower. Yeah, that's okay.
I didn't know you had the camera on that.
Oh, no, that's fine.
here, you had it hand up orders or messages 3 locations of
Okay.
that train.
Oh, the 3 locations.
Yeah.
So the engineer and,
Engineer and the conductor out in the back, and then one, say, halfway in between.
and why is that?
Well, your crew was different locations.
Oh, okay. So it was the same exact train order?
It'd be, the message or train order would be the same.
Oh, okay.
To all 3.
All 3, okay. I did not know that. Very good.
Probably be the brakeman in the middle.
Radios, okay.
Yeah.
When did the radios come in?
Oh, I think it was sometime in the 60s.
Sometime in the 60s. Wow. So before that, everything was paperwork.
Paperwork,
Wow, wow. Or and then how late did you use the Morse code?
That varies considerable by location.
By location.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you say you used it into the 60s a little bit or 50s?
Yeah,
Really?
in the 60s.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. Do you still remember Morse code?
Not really.
No.
I mean, part of it, yeah.
Part of it, yeah. Okay.
I just don't have the hearing anymore for that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we got the. That's how you understood Morse
Yeah.
code.
Right.
That was what you had. Dots and dashes.
Yeah, but are you familiar with both of them? Railroad used Morse code, and service used international code.
Yeah.
So I had to learn both of them.
Wow. Okay.
But in the steam days, the steam engine was up a lot higher. So we had a handle would probably be 1.5 to 2 foot longer,
Okay.
so you could hand it up.
Okay. Okay. I did not know that.
And I don't know, it's been 30-some years. Okay. You gotta have a sliding knot.
Okay. A sliding knot.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Another thing I forgot to mention to you is the roundhouse that used to be across the street there by Ziggy's.
Yes.
That had a turntable so you could turn
Okay.
the steam engines.
And did they have a crew that just kind of hung out there and maintained it?
Yeah, there was a crew to handle all that.
Okay. Okay. Now, you were mentioning the train orders 31. Was that specific to Mendota, or was that just...
I don't know about other railroads, but I'm sure they had something similar to it.
Okay, okay,
But the 19 was a regular order.
okay.
The 31 was a restricted one.
Oh, restricted one. And
Yeah.
and this...
And the crews would have to sign it when you gave it to them.
Okay. And what do we have here on the desk here? Is that an order that you could attach to the hoop? This one here?
Yeah. They had a metal plate
Oh,
that
okay.
would go in, and sometimes you'd always make 3 copies, but sometimes you'd have, oh hell, 7, 10, 12 copies,
Really?
and that's what that plate was for, so you could put pressure on it.
Okay, okay.
don't see that plate either.
Okay.
There was a metal plate that
We'll have to.
the side of this here, and then you would slide it in.
Okay. We'll have to search for that. See if we even have
probably
one.
Disappeared too.
Probably. I'll have to look for that. Because I did not know that, but thank you for explaining that.
What's that engine out there?
You want the engine number?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in addition to your order, you always had to also use a clearance form. And this is one of them.
Oh, okay. Let me take a look at this. The clearance form, okay.
Yeah.
So addition to the
Anytime
order.
you had an order that you had to give to the crew, it had to have a clearance form.
Oh, okay. So that was attached to the train order.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I wish I could find that plate, but another thing they always had is carbon paper,
Carbon paper, okay.
double-sided.
Double-sided.
Yeah. But this is just a simple
Right.
one.
Okay. So let's see.
And of course, I'd be putting an order number up there.
Okay, I see. Train order. Okay. Mendota. CB&Q 4978. Engine 4972 you have, but 4978. Okay. Extra? Work extra? Or
Yeah.
to, all right, work extra,
Denrock.
Mendota to Denrock. Okay. All right.
That's just a real simple one.
Yeah. Well, that's probably one that you came across and had to deal with.
And these initials, that was always chief dispatcher's initials.
Oh, really? Okay. What
And
were the
then
initials? Do you remember?
RAM.
R.
Well, there was any number of them, but he was one of them.
Okay, RAM.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, I'd have to sign it here.
Okay. You would have to sign it?
I would sign here, yeah.
Okay. Do you want to sign it?
Yeah. That's just a fictitious number.
Okay, that's fine. And then so once you got that completed, you had to fold it up a certain way to put it on the hoop. And here's the hoop here. Wow, that is amazing. So when the train came by, would it be the engineer or the conductor that would take it up? That would grab the message?
And of course, back in those days, you had an engineer and a brakeman or switchman, whatever title they had,
Okay.
on the head end. He's the one that would actually get the order or would take it off of the hoop, and then he'd give it to the engineer.
Okay.
And the conductor on the back end, there'd be a brakeman back there too, but in most cases, the conductor would take it himself.
Okay. So on freight trains, there were 2 orders that you had to give, right? One to the engineer and one to the guy in the caboose?
To the conductor.
Okay. And then on the passenger trains, you said there were 3.
3.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you for showing that to us.
Yeah, and I'm sure somebody took it there too. There should have been a number of these with the long handle.
With the long handle, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because that would be, I remember the platform, you came down the stairs to that first level on the IC tower. Did you hand up hoops there for the westbound, or eastbounds, right? So you didn't have to go across the tracks?
Yeah, the westbound, we'd have to go across the track.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. And then that's really when you really needed the longer hoop, probably.
For the steam engines.
Oh, okay.
Now, when they came out with electric engines, then you could use this.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you could use either one,
Yeah.
but you could get by using this.
Oh, okay. All right. And then now that string, the way it's attached around the whole hoop, is just basically one continuous string, but you had to tie it here. How was that tied there, right there? I mean, to create that knot.
Oh, man. I haven't made it so long that,
Okay.
but it has to be so it'll slide.
Okay, very interesting.
Here, you got Now there too, they probably disappeared, but we used to either have 2 nails or pegs. So you take a ball of string and you'd wind that around, and they were spaced just the right distance, so you'd always come up with the right light that you needed.
Okay.
See if it'll slide.
You got it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if I got it just exactly in the right length.
Right.
Could be a little too long. Yeah, it's a little bit long.
Okay. And that's where that one apparatus comes in handy, where with the nails and the.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Did not know that. When was the last time you made one of them knots?
30 years. Might even be more than that.
Wow. Yeah. That's just
Where did you have that?
right up there. You see by the window to the right of the window there?
Here?
Yeah. That's it. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
That was a lot of great information, Val. So, what are some of the things you recommend us to get to help with this display? That steel back for the clipboard
Yeah.
and the special type of pen?
Stylus, yeah. I can probably pick one up someplace.
Okay, okay.
And bring it in.
Okay, that would be great. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, so we need that and the carbon paper too?
Yeah.
Okay.
That might be harder to find.
That might be harder to find. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate your time. Yeah, that was great. Is there anything else you'd like to say or add to?
Well, this was the ticket office, wasn't it?
Originally I don't know. Yeah.
Now, it seemed to me that, of course, they probably put this wall in because the ticket office and the rest was all
One.
one
Okay.
office.
Okay. Yeah, I think for the museum they put in this wall
Yeah.
and also in the Greenwood room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about that other building? Is that part of the museum?
No, it is not. Yeah, across the tracks?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Nope. That's still a BN office or BNSF for the cruise. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a fast walker.
See coal chute?
Yes.
Okay, that's coal and water.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think you wanted to go out into the
remember? For the Burlington?
I have no hearing in my left ear.
Oh, okay. Do you remember the Burlington cabooses, the wooden weight cabooses, ever?
They were all when I was.
Have a seat if you want.
Don't have it here, but there'd be a lever, sort of a U-shaped lever,
Yeah.
that the engineer, while running,
Yeah.
would have his foot on it.
Oh.
We call that the dead man's lever.
Oh, really? Okay, so it was like a U.
Let's say a heart attack or
Yeah.
stroke, his foot would automatically be coming off.
Really? I didn't
Part
know
of
that.
nature.
But that was only for diesel locomotives.
Yeah, really? So underneath the seat here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. A dead man's switch. Yeah.
They mostly cheated on that sometimes with.
Oh yeah, they put something on it,
Yeah.
but actually it was there for their own use.
Really? Okay. Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
it's been so long, I don't. Yeah, it's,
Where's your throttle?
well, one of these was.
Okay. And then the brake?
That could have been this year.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Anymore.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Most locations like Mendota, Rochelle, Oregon, you always had a speaker a foot from your ear
Oh, really?
with a constant buzz sound to it.
Oh,
You
really?
could turn it down, but you couldn't turn it off.
Okay. Okay.
Something like 2 or 3 years after I retired, I lost my hearing.
Oh, really? Oh, my. Okay. Val, so you were saying it was easier to hand up train orders on a steam engine than a diesel.
Right.
Okay. And why is that?
Because you had the distance from the front to where you hand up.
Oh, gotcha.
those-
Gotcha. Yeah.
You might just that short
Oh.
distance.
Gotcha. Okay. I understand.